There is a saying out there that necessity is the mother of all inventions, which is why when you see a row of cars parked in front of an apartment complex in China, and every single windshield is covered with a couch cushion that has been strapped on top of the car, duct taped around their car, you have to assume that they've done that for a very specific reason. I mean, that's compelling people to do this. Otherwise, it just seems unnecessary. September 13th, 2025, Beijing, China is in lockdown. Everyone who can stay inside, stay inside. Anyone who can't find shelter, it's highly advised, it's highly recommended you find shelter. Even just sitting in your car probably is not going to protect you. If you have nothing but your car, you might as well get in your trunk. It's that bad. Because pelting from the sky are these giant golf ball sized ice balls. Pieces of hail coming down at 40 miles per hour. If you get hit by one of those, you're probably going to be on the ground concussed. And if you're really unlucky, if you're young or if you're older, your bones are more brittle, you could suffer a full-on skull fracture. You don't want to be outside. Inside is a little better, but not by much. People said it sounded like just rapid fire, gunfire coming down from the sky. It felt like the skies are mad at the residents of Beijing. It sounds like they're getting pelted by boulders. September 13th, 2025, warnings are sent out to all the residents of Beijing. A hailstorm is approaching. The wind gusts alone are going to be strong enough to break branches that are going to whip you in the face. The entire city is going to be covered in a blanket of ice. It's September in Beijing. Before the hailstorm, the weather is summer transitioning into fall. You need a light sweater if you get cold easily. That's the weather. And suddenly, overnight, it's going to be a polar vortex. This is very unusual. There are videos of locals running around to get inside a building while screaming, "This is bizarre!" Some reports even indicate that the golf ball-sized hail eventually morph into the size of an egg, which is much larger. One resident said, "I thought everything was going to come crumbling down. It felt like an apocalypse was happening inside of Beijing." Cars parked on the street, eventually they looked like they were wrapped in bubble wrap. But no, when you walk up closer, it's just pelted hail that's been injected into their cars, polka dotting the entire thing. People have their windshields broken, shattered. It's bad. One elderly man living in Beijing tells the news station, "I haven't seen anything like this in the past 50 years of living in Beijing, if not more." Another insurance company employee states to the news stations, "I had 50,000 claims come in. I was working from home. $40 million that were reported the day of the hailstorm." The China Meteorological Administration classified this hailstorm as the most intense extreme weather event in the past decade. And then all of a sudden, when you went online, all the news about this hailstorm just starts getting deleted. It just mainstream news outlets that are talking about this hailstorm. Entire segments of the news will get deleted. Comments, articles getting deleted. Someone said, "I posted on social media about the damage that it did to my car, and my video got deleted. It was not against any of the social media policies. I don't know why it got deleted. I don't know what's going on." When you look up hailstorm in Beijing, other less eventful hailstorms from Beijing are like the top searches on a lot of different platforms. So why are they deleting this random hailstorm off the internet? Why are they censoring it? Why is it getting erased? And the videos that are still up about this hailstorm, why are the comments so weird? Usually when you have disasters like this, you have comments of people saying, "Well, this is how I prepared. This is how you need to prepare. Oh, the apocalypse is coming." You'll have some of those, but all the comments are filled with these very cryptic, roundabout, "Let it rain. Let it rain." What does that mean? Another comment reads, "Let's never forget. Let the skies pour down so everyone remembers." Other people are saying, "This is the revenge that's starting." What does that mean? And then 2 days later, September 15th, 2025, a huge part of China is covered in what netizens call the devil's eyes. They say for an entire week in China, it just felt like an apocalypse was happening in the entire country. These little clouds are coming in and it feels like the devil's eyes are coming this close to the Earth's surface and just staring at all of the citizens. There is a science explanation. It's still kind of creepy. They're called asperitas clouds, but it's when the entire sky is filled with this blanket of clouds and they're thick, dark, gray, bubbly clouds. Nothing about it is just foggy. It's not overcast. You can't see any part of the sun. You can't even see a sliver of blue skies. It just feels like the best way people have described it is imagine the ocean going through Bermuda's Triangle, going through Drake's Passage during the biggest turbulent storm in the ocean, and put that on top of you. That's what the sky looks like. It looks angry. Some people say it looks like devil's eyes because it's not flat. It almost feels like there's these vortex boils coming down closer to the earth, and they look close and they look like they're trying to eat up earth.
雨的太可怕了。
All the Chinese netizens, they're taking pictures, they're taking videos, they're asking mainstream media to talk about it, they're leaving comments of like, heaven is mad at us. Why else does it feel apocalyptic? It feels like a warning, it feels like a message. That is how everyone in China takes it. But what's interesting is, even when you look up the clouds, in China, there's a few articles about it, but in America, all you can find is this state-run news website. So typically, when you look up events that are happening in China, you obviously have the ones that are so big that even American media will cover it, or UK BBC will cover it. But then you also have events that are semi-big, and you have all these different Chinese networks that are covering it, and you can read it in English. But this one, you look up September 15th, 2025, clouds in China, all you get is this one article from a state-run news website showing clouds from a very different province. And it writes, after an autumn rain on Monday, multiple scenic areas of Zhangjiajie National Forest Park in central China's Hunan province were adorned with a breathtaking sea of clouds, creating an ethereal atmosphere reminiscent of a fairyland. These look like normal clouds. I mean, it's beautiful, but they look like normal clouds. And that's definitely not the clouds that people were focused on September 15th, 2025 in China. So why are the main news sources in China, when you look that up, about this random cloud event that nobody cared about? It doesn't make any sense. Censorship in China is a very big political topic that I don't think I would be well equipped enough to speak on, and there is some sort of method to the censorship. Obvious and clear criticism against the government will usually be censored. Jokes against the administration will typically be censored. Any mistakes made by the administration, I mean, this is pretty common in most countries, there will be attempts to cover it up, or it will kind of get buried, or in this case, censored. But why would they censor a hailstorm and clouds? Is it because Chinese netizens believe that both events, the hail and the clouds, are the heavens taking revenge? Because 4 days before the clouds, 2 days before the hailstorm, September 11th, 2025, a famous Chinese actor suspiciously dies in Beijing. Yu Manglong falls to his death from this very expensive high-rise building. It's a residential apartment building, but he falls from the 5th floor of a unit that does not belong to him. This is not his apartment. And the police, they investigate, and very quickly, within hours, they rule out all foul play. They say that he was drunk. This is his friend's apartment. He came for a dinner party with like a dozen other people. And he got drunk and he fell from the 5th floor and he died. It is a tragic accident. They don't investigate the over a dozen people at the party. They don't investigate further into his death. In fact, they just start censoring anybody who has questions online about Yu Manglong's passing. Why are you censoring that? And a few days later, when the hailstorm hits and the cloud storm hits, all the comments read, heaven and earth are weeping and grieving together for Yu Manglong's death. The injustice that happened to Yu Manglong has angered the heavens, and China is going to change. God is watching over us. Heaven will give you justice, Yu Manglong. Yu Manglong was tortured so badly that he was killed, and the heavens are mad. The anger and wrath of Yu Manglong's injustice is being depicted in Mother Nature. And that leads the government to censoring a good chunk of the news about this seemingly unrelated hailstorm and cloud storm. But like, why would the government do that? Why would they go so far to censor the news of literal hailstorms, natural disasters, natural weather events? Are they saying that this is all connected to Yu Manglong? Are they saying that this is revenge by the heavens? Like, why would they be censoring that? Who would they even be protecting by censoring this news? Why does it seem like all of China believes that Yu Manglong's death was not an accident? Why won't the authorities just reopen and reinvestigate? Who are they protecting? The over a dozen people at the party that day? Then who are those people? How are they connected to the government? And are all the conspiracies true? That he was tortured before his death, that he swallowed a USB containing government secrets, and that his mom is now missing, that there is now a video being sold, a video that was taken by one of the partygoers of Yu Manglong being tortured to death, that it's being sold online for $100,000, or that they killed his dog in front of him to get him to comply, or that his entire career since 2020 has been controlled by wealthy executives that wanted a lot more from him. How can anyone even decipher what is true, what is not true, if everything is getting deleted and censored? Even his entire existence, it feels like it's soon going to be wiped. So what really happened to Yu Manglong? Who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the New York Immigration Coalition. They're an advocacy organization that represents over 200 immigrant and refugee rights groups throughout New York. And this episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support our growing team. And we'd also like to thank you guys as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. We will be linking a signature petition on the website demanding justice for Yu Manglong. And there are tons of disclaimers for this case. There are sensitive topics such as brief mentions of self-exit, corruption, drugging, physical assault, and SA. And today's case takes place in China, and we had our professional translators working around the clock to gather all the information for this case. Even then, we had multiple discussions on whether or not we could even cover this case in these videos. Frankly, censorship was a big hindrance in the researching of this case. The information out there is largely unverified, limited. It's constantly getting deleted. It's constantly getting re-uploaded, disproven, and just cannot be traced back to a single credible source. I think the problem is with cases like this, there is a strong hesitancy to talk about it because the last thing that we want to do is spread unconfirmed rumors, to indirectly, accidentally cast light onto someone who may have no involvement in anything nefarious is also a fear of ours. But we think that's exactly why this case needs to be talked about. It is highly unlikely that any new information will come out that is verified. It is highly unlikely that the police are going to start listening and verifying or denying which rumors are true and which ones are not with fact-based evidence. It is highly, highly unlikely that anything will be done as of right now towards figuring out what actually happened to Yu Manglong on an official level, which means with time, people could just stop talking about Yu Manglong. So that's why we're making this episode, even though I'm going to tell you right now, nothing in this episode is confirmed. I mean, truly nothing. Take this video as the only thing that I can tell you with full confidence is that Yu Manglong, a famous, beloved Chinese actor with over 25 million followers, so a big actor, is dead. And the facts around his death are very suspicious in my opinion. And the government and the police, they're behaving even more suspiciously. And that's it. I can't confirm with certainty really anything else about this case. So to err on the side of caution, just assume that everything other than the fact that Yu Manglong is dead and that everything about his passing is being censored, everything really outside of those two facts, we don't know anything. And as of right now, legally, nobody has been detained, convicted, or has spoken out. Everything is alleged. Legally speaking, his death has been ruled an accident, even though nobody believes that. And I will say that the conspiracies here, they range from believable to some of them seem initially very far-fetched. They're very intense. They seem like they would come out of a movie or a novel, and they're very grim, but they're very specific and they're dark. And I will say that even dealing with conspiracy theories in America, oftentimes reality is not that dark. Sometimes it's not that deep. Sometimes the conspiracies just have a life of its own and it snowballs into something so dark and so crazy that it's so unbelievable. And then you have times where conspiracies are so dark, so unbelievable, so bad, and then the truth is so much worse. So like we don't know what the case is here. So with that disclaimer, I know it doesn't really have to be stated, but do your own research, come to your own conclusions. That is highly recommended for this particular case. And lastly, there will be a few clips throughout this episode that allegedly capture Yu Manglong's last moments alive. These are audibly more graphic. There's not really anything visually graphic, so we will have an audible disclaimer before each clip is played to give you a moment to fast forward if you want to skip these portions. Additionally, I want to make it clear, like we are not including these clips as just to showcase Yu Manglong's last moments allegedly before he passed, but these clips are the only alleged evidence that Yu Manglong was tortured, or like direct evidence from that night, allegedly. It's not just to showcase his last moments. It's like, this is what people are holding on to, and this is what people are saying authorities need to keep investigating. I do believe that this video is going to be age restricted, potentially just naturally suppressed by the algorithms, but I just want to include as much of the key information as possible because it's messy out there. And if this does end up getting censored to the point where, because sometimes it happens, there will be an uncensored version or a less censored version, the video podcast on Spotify under Rotten Mango Video. So with that being said, let's get started. September 12th, 2025, a list starts circulating. And there's dozens of names on there. High-profile celebrities, very wealthy producers, directors, executives in the entertainment industry, and almost overnight, this is a witch hunt. This list is getting dropped into forums, random group chats, best hiking equipment forum, this list has been dropped. Group chats of school moms for pickup, this list has been getting dropped. The comment sections of videos that have nothing to do with this, people going fishing, this list is getting dropped. People are copying and pasting and dumping this list anywhere that they can, and just as quickly as this list gets dumped everywhere, entire comment sections are getting deleted, entire forums are getting deleted, entire accounts are being suspended. It's like having a glass cup on the table. Someone keeps coming in there and dumping this list, dumping water in there. Someone walks up, dumps it back out, and it keeps happening nonstop. But whoever is pouring the water, whoever's dumping this list, the group of people, they are working much faster because the list is getting out there and people are on a witch hunt on social media. They are looking for the accounts of every single person on this list. They are leaving comments on their social media pages. You're gonna rot for what you did. Just you wait. Even the heavens are pissed. You deserve to be in jail and we're gonna make sure you get there. You can't hide forever. Where are you? It almost feels like the Chinese Epstein list of sorts, with everyone on social media trying to spread the list around, figuring out when each person was proven to become a member of this list, what evidence is there for them to be on this list. People are trying to create mass threads, and there's videos and pictures of them attached to the whole thing. See, that's them. You can see them in the back of this video where Yu Manglong is, and this is like a phone strap that they were using from a week ago, and like this whole thing, this list is basically career death. One famous singer whose name is on that list, he goes from being relatively successful to just selling 15 tickets for his next upcoming concert. 15 tickets. Most people could invite their family members and sell more than 15 tickets without being a household name. Celebrities have been accused of cheating on their spouses, committing crimes against women, and
that singer had to cancel the concert because he only sold 15 tickets.
Like this list is very serious. I mean, to give you context, you've seen it. Celebrities have been accused of cheating on their spouses. Celebrities have been accused of committing crimes against women, and they'll still have hundreds, if not thousands of fans show up to their concert. This guy has 15 concert tickets sold? What the hell did the people on this list do to get this type of reception? They were there that night when Yu Manglong died. They were all at the dinner party that ended when Yu Manglong's life ended. In Beijing, China, near the financial district, there is a compound of apartment buildings. Ironically, they're called the Sunshine Upper East Compound. It's just a cluster of these very tall apartment buildings, all centered around these little pockets of gardens, which if you live in a city like Beijing, living in a building with a large residential park is probably the easiest way to show that you have money. It's said that the cluster of buildings, the Sunshine Upper East Compound, there's at least 50 celebrities that live in this compound. It's a very high-end residential area. A bunch of wealthy retired couples, business executives, government officials. Naturally, all the entry points into the compound are typically controlled. There's 24-hour management, security on site. They have CCTV cameras throughout all the buildings. Nothing really happens at Sunshine Upper East compound. Like really. I will say the biggest problem that Sunshine Upper East compound had in recent years was a bigger, better, more upscale building opened up across the street. So a lot of the celebrities left. All the high-profile residents were moving out. That was the biggest problem until September 11th, 2025, 5:10 a.m. And by most accounts, this is what happened. An older woman, potentially grandma aged, so they call her the grandma. She's walking her husky, her big dog, and her husky starts barking, pulling her towards building 18 of this compound. So she's still inside of this private building area, but towards building 18. She doesn't live in building 18, so she's pulling the dog away, but the husky is just dead set on going to building 18. She walks over there, because this is the husky's walk, and she sees a man laying there face down outside of building 18. It's 5 in the morning. It's still dark. She's a grandma. I don't know how well her eyesight works. She initially thinks, this guy's drunk and passed out outside the apartment building. She's thinking, what has this good neighborhood turned to? What's going on? She tisk, shakes her head, walks off. Then she does another circle around the buildings, and by this point, the sun has come up. And her little husky is going crazy again, dragging her towards building 18, towards the spot where that man was lying previously. And he's still there. And this time, with the light, with better vision, she sees that there is a lot of blood all over the pavement. This man is not drunk. Something happened to this man. So she starts freaking out, and she allegedly quotes, he was wearing clothes and he looked very dressed, well dressed and clean. And that's when someone comes down. This is a direct quote from an interview that was done. Someone comes down, a man, and this man is saying that this dead man is his friend. He takes off his shirt and he covers the man on the ground with it.
朋友下来说这个是他的朋友，然后他就把自己的衣服脱了。人家说我怕你跟我朋友盖上嘛，他就把衣服给他盖上面。人家这死者还穿得清清爽爽的，衣服穿得好好。
She says that the police were called to the complex at 6:02 a.m., but she was not the one to make the call. It appears by most accounts that the security working the building was the one to make the call. But she thought it was weird that the guy just took off his top and covered his friend and said, that's my friend. Now, there is another audio recorded interview with one of the other alleged neighbors, and there's a chance that these recordings are fake. I don't think that will be true. There's a chance that they're not, and it sounds pretty legitimate from listening to it. We had our Chinese researchers listen to. I even played it for my husband too, because I was like, "Can you tell me if this sounds legitimate?"
Yeah,
it sounds legit.
Yeah, I can see it totally.
So the neighbor states that she's been there pretty much since the police initially show up, and she's telling the person interviewing her, recording, that she was just hanging around to see what was going on, and there was just a ton of police activity. She's getting little bits and bobs and little pieces of information from all the other neighbors who were all standing around trying to investigate. And by this point, she had already found out that Yu Manglong is the one that's deceased. It seems like she either knows Yu Manglong from being from around the area. Perhaps it's not his first time visiting. Perhaps she knows him personally, or she knows him as a fan. I'm not sure, but she sticks around to make sure that the police are diligent. She's like, just want to make sure that they're trying to figure out what happened to this celebrity. She says early in the morning, the police were very busy. So around 7 a.m., they're going in and out of the building. They're collecting fingerprints. They're very meticulously marking and collecting every little piece of evidence. It feels highly organized. It seems like they're taking this death investigation incredibly seriously.
在里面剪指纹。非常细致的在弄那些指纹。
She says that she felt at ease knowing that they're doing everything that they can to investigate intently, and they're going to get to the bottom of this. Then they go inside the building to the unit that Yu Manglong allegedly fell out of on the 5th floor. And they're likely talking to whoever Yu Manglong was visiting that night, because he doesn't live in this building. And that guy allegedly came down to say, that's my friend. So they're probably interviewing him, and who else is there? And she says eventually around 11:30 a.m., police come back down. By this point, news had broken online about Yu Manglong's death. And I'm assuming that everybody at the apartment building, just loitering to see what's going on, I'm sure they're also looking online, because that's exactly what you would do. You try to see if any news updates are going on online before they're happening in person. And she says news broke of his passing. A famous paparazzi man, which, side note, he is known to be rather credible. So regardless of how you feel about tabloids and paparazzi, he is known in China to be someone with very solid information. He comes out to post, breaking the news that Yu Manglong has passed. The post reads, 11:25 a.m., September 11, 2025. Today, I received news that Yu Manglong, star of Eternal Love and Go Princess Go, fell to his death in Beijing today. A source close to the matter told us that Yu Manglong had dinner with 5 to 6 friends at a friend's house on September 10th. Around 2 a.m. on September 11th, Yu Manglong went to a spare bedroom and locked the door to go to sleep. Around 6 a.m., his friends left the party without seeing him. They went downstairs and discovered his body on the pavement. A neighbor walking their dog saw him and called the police. It is reported that Yu Manglong had 2 Rolex watches in his pocket that belonged to his friends, and the screen mesh covering the window from which Yu Manglong fell out of was opened by Yu Manglong. Police have ruled out a criminal case, but the specific cause of death is still under investigation. This was posted first, before any official studio or police or really anyone releases a statement of Yu Manglong's passing. But the neighbor that's been recorded in that interview, she says when the police came back down from inside the building, she was getting pissed. Because it's 11:30, she just saw the paparazzi man post this. They said, no criminal activity? What do you mean? Like, you were just taking fingerprints. Why were you taking fingerprints if there's no criminal activity? So she's thinking to herself, and you just got here. I just saw you. I mean, yeah, you were working hard, but you weren't working that hard. How can you conclude that there's no foul play? She's very upset, so she's not about to leave. She just saw what was posted, and she starts confronting the police. And she's like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but you guys cannot conclude that there was no foul play within that short span of time. She explained she's kind of freaking out to the police officers, and a nice hat, that's what they call the police in China, hats, because they wear hats. A nice hat pulls her to the side to try and figure out why she won't leave. Like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And she tells them, the citizens are upset. What do you mean you ruled out foul play? You guys just got here. How can you rule that out in a few hours? We're all very angry about this. These are direct quotes from the interview.
其中有一个帽子就非常善良，他就偷偷的把我拉到一边了。我说你们几个小时就定性了，我说我们现在都民愤了。
The nice cop is confused. We never said that we determined what happened. We're still investigating this case. Well, how long is it going to take? We will give the public an answer, but we have to wait. It shouldn't take much longer. All those people, his friends, are they just going to get away with it? So remember that list of over a dozen people that were reportedly at the party that night when Menglong died. She's talking about that list. And it seems like when the neighbors are talking, it seems like they kind of have an idea of what happened that night to some degree. She's saying all the people that he was with, are they going to get investigated? They have been detained. The officer tells her they have been detained. You have no idea how many people we've arrested already. Is it because he's a celebrity that you care so much? No, it's because he's a very kind person. If he had been tortured by an old pervert, we want to fight for justice for him. He deserves justice. Oh, well, he's been arrested as well. So many things are odd about this conversation. First of all, she clearly knows something that we don't know because she's asking, are all these people, are they going to get away with it? Now, many neighbors later report that they heard screaming and fighting all night long leading up to Menglong's death. So some people think that they knew that he was at an event and there was lots of screaming. This is abnormal for their apartment building. There was lots of threats being screamed. Clearly, they wake up the next morning and there is Yu Manglong and he's deceased. It must be connected, so of course you want justice. She later tells another person interviewing her, everyone in the neighborhood knows what happened here, okay? Everyone knows. The sound blocking is very bad in this neighborhood. The units are not that new. They're actually much older. The distance between the buildings is pretty close. If someone screams, everyone can hear. She also indicates other things that she thought was weird. In fact, we don't have a 4th floor. This is her saying it. So a lot of people are reporting that he fell from the 6th floor. The unit in question has a 6 in front of it, so it indicates it's on the 6th floor. But this apartment building, like a lot of buildings in Asia, they don't have a 4th floor because of superstitions. 4 sounds like death. So they don't have a 4th floor. But technically, even though it says 6 on the door, this is the 5th floor. So he fell from the 5th floor, and that's a pretty short distance. She says she stood there watching for a really long time because she's like, how does someone fall from the 5th floor and pass away? Like, how do you even fall from that kind of distance? The window, I mean, maybe it seems low. Maybe he's really tall. The window is not even a balcony. It's like a window that he fell out of. And like there was a net and you'd have to jam through it. Like you really have to push it open to get through. Like, how did he do that? She says, I stood there for a really long time watching because none of it was making any sense. And then she says, another thing that I noticed was I saw a bunch of cops inside the apartment, the unit in question. And I saw that they were moving around a lot. They were reenacting all sorts of motions, as if they're trying to simulate what motion was the most plausible in what could have happened. One motion was one cop standing there looking out the window, and another cop kicks him very hard from behind, is like simulating a very hard kick, projecting him out of the window. From what she could tell from downstairs is that looked like the most accurate portrayal of all the different simulations that they've been doing. That looked like the only one that made sense, because there's also marks inside and outside the building. The window that he fell from, there's marks on the side. I mean, just all of it. This is the most viable option. He was kicked, so he plummets to his death. That's what she thought, until she saw the paparazzi man post that online. Police have ruled out a criminal case, but the specific cause of death is still under investigation. If someone kicks him, causing him to crash out the window to his death, that's a criminal case, no? And it's believable that the paparazzi guy knows what he's talking about, because nobody outside this apartment complex, nobody online, not even Menglong's agency or the police have confirmed that Yu Manglong has passed away. But the one thing that stuck out to her the most about that whole conversation with the police officer, and she told the interviewer, and she's been thinking about it for days, like she thinks about it when she lays down at night, is she said, the old pervert. There's an old pervert that she mentions.
看很多谣传，就是说他被折磨什么，有一个老变态嘛。然后那个帽子就忽然接了我一句，我觉得也很意外。他说他已经被拘谋起来了。那我就回来想半天，那就说明有这么一个人啊。
She's talking about one of the partygoers. It seems that she has believed that this partygoer is an old pervert before any of this happened. She mentioned that to the cop, and he said, "Oh yeah, we detained him." So why are you detaining people if there's no criminal case? And also, how do you know exactly who she's talking about?
Yes. How did you know that someone is an old pervert?
Exactly.
That's
and
crazy.
That he's been detained? Interesting. And then within a few days, the case is considered officially closed, with what authorities claim are no signs of foul play. This is an accidental death. If you were not at the apartment the day all of this happens, the rest of the world, the internet, initially, you only know three things. First, the very first statement released to the public is made by the paparazzi man. September 11th, 11:25. Again, he states, Yu Manglong, one of the lead actors of Eternal Love and Go Princess Go, died today in Beijing after falling from the building. According to someone who knows the situation, on September 10th, Yu Manglong had dinner at a friend's house with 5 to 6 friends. After 2 a.m. on September 11th, he went to retire in a bedroom, a spare bedroom, locked the door, went to sleep. Around 6 a.m., the gathering breaks up. They don't check up on him, they go downstairs, and they discover his body. A neighbor walking their dog also sees the body, calls the police. It was said that Yu Manglong had 2 of his friends' Rolex watches in his pocket, and had opened the Windows mesh screen. Police have ruled out foul play, but are still investigating the exact cause of death. Then almost exactly an hour later, the same paparazzi man edits his original post. And he takes out 2 things. He takes out the part about Yu Manglong having 2 Rolexes in his pockets. And he takes out the part that Yu Manglong opened the mesh screen. Which is strange. Then at 2 p.m., the paparazzi man makes another post, which reads, "This morning, we received news that Yu Manglong had fallen to his death in Beijing. Upon arriving at the residential complex where the incident occurred, we saw that the screen window on the 5th floor of the building had been damaged." We later interviewed the residential complex staff who confirmed that the man who fell to his death was indeed celebrity Yu Manglong. The incident occurred at 5 a.m. on the 11th of September. He fell from the 5th floor and died instantly on the concrete pavement. Then for 4 hours, it's radio silence. By this point, there are a lot of people, fingers crossed, hoping that maybe paparazzi man got it wrong, for once, and that Yu Manglong is still alive. 6:44 p.m., Yu Manglong's studio account posts a very vague official announcement of his death. "With deep sorrow, we must tell everyone our beloved Yu Manglong has passed away on September 11th, 2025, after falling from a building. After police investigation, criminal involvement has been ruled out. May the departed rest in peace and may the living stay strong." This is when all hell breaks loose. Because first of all, this feels like the first official confirmation that he's gone. He's deceased. So now, coupled with the shock and the grief that a lot of fans are feeling, everybody's confused about how vague this is. The studio mentions nothing about, what do you mean a fall from a building? Knowing how Asian celebrities are treated, there was an initial wave of people wondering, was it self-exit? But then why would they not have said that? And also, if it's true that Yu Manglong is deceased, that means the original post from the paparazzi man is very true. So then you would have to assume that, right? Because they're the first ones to break the news, which means, okay, so then there's a dinner party that 5 or 6 people had gone to. How do you rule out criminal suspicion when there's a whole dinner party that he died at? And like, who are the 5 to 6 people? I mean, the questions are just growing. Like, how did he fall? Why did he fall? Was it a self-exit? Was it an accident? Was it a murder?
How do you have 2 Rolexes in the pocket?
Yeah, and why did the paparazzi man delete that?
Yeah.
Like, who are these friends? And how do you know the Rolexes were his friends' Rolexes? Additionally, even more puzzling is this agency that is putting out this very public statement, official statement of Yu Manglong's passing. This agency was created by Yu Manglong and was voluntarily dissolved. It doesn't exist anymore, legally speaking. Like, you open up a company and then you close the company. You voluntarily dissolve it. It is no longer in operation. And this has been voluntarily dissolved months ago by Yu Manglong. It's not supposed to be in operation, and it hasn't been for months. And then suddenly they're coming back to announce his passing.
Who's running this, right? Like, who's posting this?
Exactly. And who are they to say that there's no foul play involved? But it's not the most alarming thing in the world. Like, maybe this is a case of really, really bad miscommunication. Vague for no purpose other than, okay, why are they being vague? So netizens start asking these types of questions on social media, at the Beijing police, at everyone that's involved, asking very casual questions of like, how do you know there's no foul play? How do you know? Do you know who was at the party? Did you investigate everyone thoroughly? These are very normal questions considering this is a high-profile celebrity that has passed. And all those questions get instantly deleted. In fact, other than the initial messages of rest in peace, Menglong, any other questions, any concerns, any wonders about the investigation being thorough, not thorough, all getting deleted. Just to give you context, every social media platform in China, obviously, like America, has their own user guidelines, meaning you can't just post whatever you want. Certain content is going to get off the platform. The platform itself usually takes it down or suppresses it. But these questions are not going against any content guidelines, but they're still getting deleted across social media platforms, not just one platform, but all of them, which can only mean one thing, that in order to delete anyone's questioning of Yu Manglong's death, that order is coming from the higher ups in the government. It is also believed that in order to censor to this degree across platforms, even comments, not just articles, but comments, it is believed that whoever sent down this order has to either be the head of state or at least part of the Politburo, which is the highest level of the government in China. You're talking about like the highest 25 government leaders and senior party leaders. You have to be one of the top 30 most powerful individuals in the entire nation to be able to censor news like this. Why are they involved in the passing of a Chinese actor? What does this have to do with them? Unless it has everything to do with them. Here's what is somewhat confirmed. Yu Manglong is 37 years old, and on September 11th, 2025, he reportedly fell to his death from the 5th floor of a residential building in Beijing. He's at a dinner party with his friends. The apartment that he fell to his death from allegedly is not owned by him. It is his friend's apartment. He falls to his death and he's discovered the next morning. At first, the conspiracy is that this was a self-exit. I mean, I guess people were thinking about how stressful and depressing life is in general, how celebrities are often overworked in places like China. I mean, this would not be the most unheard of situation to happen. However, it is very hard. Netizens cannot apply the logic here. Netizens argue that based on what we know about Yu Manglong, which sure, you could say we know nothing because nobody on the internet really knows a celebrity, it's just parasocial, but still, based off of how he presents himself and just normal human behavior and psychology, netizens are questioning, why would Yu Manglong go to a friend's dinner party and then decide to self-exit at his friend's house? And also, this was the initial theory that police were running with. Like, why would the police even think that this is a theory?
Yeah, exactly. on 5th floor too.
Yeah, why would he go to a friend's dinner party and then decide to self-exit? Psychologically and statistically speaking, people tend to want to have maximum privacy to avoid interruption and intervention. This doesn't make any sense. He also left his 2 beloved dogs, a corgi and a French bulldog, which we will talk about later because there are reports that people have seen videos of them being killed by the same people at the dinner party. We're going to get into that. There's just a lot. It's too messy to give you all at once. Now, he leaves them. He doesn't leave a note. He doesn't text anyone, please care for my dogs. He doesn't tell anyone what he wants to happen to his dogs, who he wants to take care of his dogs. Because typically, I mean, that's a big thing. He loves his dogs. And if you don't leave certain notes, they could be sent to animal control. They could be put down. He doesn't do any of that. He just goes to his friend's house on the 5th floor. I mean, some say 6th floor, but it's technically the 5th floor. And he decides to self-exit. It doesn't make sense. The guest bedroom does not even have a balcony. It's just a window. So he's going to open the window, remove the mesh screen, and then self-exit, again, from the 5th floor. Psychologically and statistically speaking, that is weird. It is worth mentioning, it is very grim, but a lot of people who make these very impossible choices, a lot of them, statistically speaking, psychologically speaking, have a great concern for the amount of impact on people, their loved ones. So at a friend's house just does not seem like it's plausible. But also they have something called perceived lethality. It's unfortunately a very big thing. There's a strong psychological need for certainty about the outcome. 5th floor does not make sense, statistically. People are even questioning how he even passed by falling from the 5th floor. Nobody believes that Yu Manglong had self-exited under these conditions. The police, they originally decide that he had self-exited, and they very quickly decide, actually, it's an accidental death. It's not a self-exit, it's an accidental death. So what had happened was he was very drunk. He got too drunk at this dinner party with his friends. And because he was so drunk, he went into the spare bedroom to sleep it off, sober up. Maybe he opened the window and then he fell out the window. And, as he's opening up the window, that's a time where he could have also stumbled and fallen out the window, plummeting to his passing. It makes sense, right? Until you see the picture of the window, until you see exactly what the window looks like. The bedroom windows are long and rectangular. It almost looks like a standing mirror. Think of it like that. But the window itself has 2 separate panels, just cut in the middle. So the bottom panel, which is near the floor, it doesn't open because that would be very dangerous. It's not a balcony, it's just a window. Now, the top portion opens up so that you can circulate air. And you have this mesh net to keep the bugs out. So you open this window to get fresh air. The top half opens, and maybe that's where it goes wrong. He goes to open it, but he stumbles and he bursts through the mesh net and crashes down to his death. But the window opens inward, meaning he has to step away from the window to open the window. So it's not like he's pushing it out and then he falls through a mesh screen. He would have to step back into the room. But maybe he wants to get a closer look at the window. Maybe he wants to get closer to the mesh screen because he needs to sober up. He needs fresh air. But then he trips on something and stumbles and then crashes through the mesh net and falls to the ground. Highly, highly unlikely. The window opens up at the 35-inch mark on the wall. If you are near a desk or a dining table, to give you some sort of reference, in America at least, most dining tables are around the 30-inch mark. This is 35 inches. Yu Manglong is 180 centimeters or 5 feet 11 inches tall. Accidentally falling through the mesh and to his death is possible, but it requires specific movements. So for someone who is 5'11", the center of gravity is going to be around 39 inches. 4 inches is a relatively small discrepancy. The 35-inch window, to give you context, a lot of residential railings in America have 36-inch height requirements. So it's just 1 more inch. Mm-hmm. He could have fallen if perhaps he was leaning out the window to grab something that he dropped, but that's not the case because the mesh screen is damaged. It was not taken off.
And the mesh screen are made out of fine little metal mesh. So it's stronger. It's
almost like a cheese grater type vibe. I mean, it's not going to hurt you, but it's metal, so it's not like the fabric mesh that most Americans are used to. Yeah. So it's hard to push through that. It's hard to punch through that even. So then that would mean that he would have to trip and fall forward hard enough to break through this metal mesh barrier and then tumble to his passing without having the time. And this is a pretty skinny window. Mm-hmm. So he would have a lot of places on the inside to hold himself to. Yeah. It's not just like a giant gaping hole. That is a lot of force. He would theoretically have to be trying to ram through the window if he were doing this by himself. One neighbor says, not only that, the mesh screen and the window, like, yeah, you could sit there, do center of gravity calculations, but she's going to tell you someone would have to punch or kick him. I'm just telling you, it doesn't make any sense. She says, I've lived there for 3 years. There's just no way someone can accidentally fall off. Truly, I had a friend who was drunk, and if they're looking out my window, I'm not worried. I'm not checking up on that friend. It doesn't make any sense. None of this makes sense.
即使他醉酒了，我也丝毫不会担心他会坠楼，因为窗台足够高，纱窗足够坚固。
Ever notice when you're checking out online, there is this purple Shop Pay button sitting there among all the payment options? That's Shopify, and that's my favorite button. And there is a reason it shows up everywhere you shop. At first, I just thought it was another payment method. Turns out it's actually the backbone behind so many of the online stores that we buy from regularly, including the surprise that we have coming that we can't really talk about. But you guys already know, Shopify is the greatest. I mean, they are the experts at helping small businesses figure out how to actually grow and complete sales. All those shopping options we take for granted as customers, like being able to order something online and pick it up in store, or vice versa. When you're in a store but you realize they don't have your size and retailers ship directly to your house, Shopify makes all of that seamless for businesses to offer. Customers get to shop however they want, and businesses have the tools to actually close every sale instead of losing people at the checkout. When my family and I were setting up Grandpa Mingo's art studio, we learned so much from Shopify, especially this one tip. It's not just about selling great products, it's about making it effortless for your customers to say yes. Stop seeing carts going abandoned and turn those sales into dollars. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/rotten. Go to shopify.com/rotten. Shopify.com/rotten. Between back to school, busier routines, and shorter days that all come with the seasons changing and also the holidays, I feel like finding time to actually cook a decent meal can feel impossible. That's where Factor comes in. Their chef prep, dietitian approved meals make it incredibly easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season gets. You're getting real wholesome food without any of the stress. My favorite Factor meals have to be the zoodles with spaghetti and meatballs. It always comes with this very tasteful sprinkling of cheese and the best roasted broccoli florets that even my nieces enjoy. But if beef isn't your thing, you can now choose from their wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. Seriously, restaurant quality seafood delivered right to your door, and the convenience factor alone is unbeatable. I just heat up a meal in minutes and I'm eating something that actually tastes homemade, no chopping, no cleanup, and it's delicious. Eat smart at factormeals.com/rotten50 off and use code rotten50 to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code rotten50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purpose. Speaking of checking up on drunk friends, a lot of people are questioning, the partygoers, they never check up on their friend? Never? Not even once? But people don't even believe Yu Manglong was drunk or that he voluntarily drank. Because the next day, Yu Manglong had a very massive CCTV appearance the very next morning. Like the next day, he had to be ready. CCTV is a government-run TV channel, and appearing on a government network is a very big deal.
Central China TV, CCTV.
Oh, yeah. Central China TV. But it's like an unfortunate name acronym. But he was supposed to appear there, and this is like a huge deal. Also, Yu Manglong, if you know anything about the history of his career, he is not a celebrity that is a diva that shows up late, that's like, oh, everyone's on set for me, you guys can wait. He is someone that is like always early. He's very good with his time. He takes his job very seriously. He's not here to get Instagram famous. Like, he takes his craft seriously. So this is a very big deal from him. He's known to come from a humble background. He has a very incredible work ethic. It just does not sound like him at all to get drunk at all. Not even a sip of alcohol the night before this CCTV appearance. That doesn't make sense. But more than that, there are scratch marks on the outside of the window. Let me explain. Neighbors and netizens have been spreading pictures of the apartment window that have subsequently been taken down, re-uploaded, subsequently taken down, re-uploaded, and then now posted to lots of foreign social media platforms. But on the windows, below this open window that Yu Manglong allegedly falls out of, there are fingerprints and scratch marks, which would have to come from outside. And if you do the math, it looks right around where Yu Manglong's upper torso would be if he were to be dangled out of the window. If someone were holding his legs and ankles to dangle him out the window, that is where that would fall. The same night of Yu Manglong's passing, a video starts going viral. And then it gets deleted, and then it starts popping up again and deleted and nonstop until it finds its way to international social media platforms. It is a video claiming to be from just moments before Yu Manglong's death. The footage is dark, and there's no way to verify any of this information in any of this video. The audio, the video, if it's Yu Manglong, it's hard. I cannot tell you with any certainty. I will say it's a very disturbing clip. I will play it very quickly, and then I'm going to describe it for those who are going to skip ahead. It's sensitive in nature. Please take a moment to skip ahead if needed. I would say skip forward 30 seconds. Okay, now I'm going to describe to you what happens in the video and also translating. But it sounds like a man that sounds like Yu Manglong screaming. And this video is taken from a different building. It's almost like if I were living in a building, apartment building, I open my window and I'm trying to zoom in onto maybe a building 2 buildings away, and I'm capturing this. The unit, the lights are on so I can see shadows, but I can't really see clearly. Mm-hmm. And it's a shadow of what netizens believe to be Yu Manglong. If this is him, it looks almost as if he is sitting on the apartment floor. His back is towards the window, maybe leaning up against the window, and he's resting his back there. And his legs are spread out in front of him, and his back is leaned all the way forward, slumped all the way forward. The shadow body language is reminiscent of someone who's completely breaking down. It just seems like someone has given up. That's the body language. He's heard screaming in the video, and the best way I can describe this is, it sounds like when someone is at their end, and that's no way saying the end of their life, but at the end of something. Like he's wailing, I have been threatened since I was young. You guys want to play me to death. I have been threatened. Once this video goes up, everyone's wondering, it sounds like Yu Manglong. It looks like the apartment that he allegedly fell out of. Who's at this dinner party? Who are these people? Why are they torturing him to the point of this breakdown? Who is he talking to? And he conveniently passes away the same night that he's being allegedly mentally tortured by a group of anonymous friends and business executives. It doesn't make sense. Another insider post starts spreading that day, and it reads, rumors have been circulating that a powerful man has been trying to have intimate relations with Yu Manglong, but he has been refusing. That led to his death. He was blackballed from the industry, and that resulted in 5 to 6 of his friends that decided that they were going to get up on this higher-up's good side, and they set up Yu Manglong. They invited him to this so-called dinner party. They drugged him, got him drunk. He was likely essayed, R-worded, by that higher-up man. And those 2 Rolex watches were given to him by that guy to shut him up. Side note, the list with all the 17 people, these are identified people. So this higher up that people are alluding to, originally nobody knew who, but by this point, they've all been somewhat identified. Not confirmed, but identified on this list. And we're going to go in depth later because every single person on that list is so suspicious, and there is so many things tying them to this event that I can't just breeze through it. But it is believed that one of the higher-ups that was allegedly at the party had a thing for flexing his Rolex watches all over the internet. And some have even tied these 2 Rolexes back to him. It's unclear which specific Rolexes were allegedly found on Yu Manglong that day, if there even were. But it's hard to say if these are common models or hard to get limited edition models, so I'm not sure. But this guy loves Rolexes, not Yu Manglong, but that higher-up executive. So the post continues, it's believed that the realization of what happened, the trauma, and the knowing that he was not able to process the trauma of being assaulted, that is why he was freaking out in the video. The post continues to allege, no autopsy has been performed, nobody in the group has been questioned, and the immediate ruling out of a homicide suggests that whoever this man that essayed Yu Manglong is very, very powerful, very influential. Even the police do not want to investigate or get involved. All of these start circulating. And while people are trying to dig up any other information about the 17 people, all the dozens of people, who the police are, like everyone that's involved, there are also excavators. There is no shortage of excavators on the internet. This is their full-time job. They neglect their own personal lives and career goals to excavate on the internet under this thinly disguised veil of keeping people accountable. I don't know. After Yu Manglong's passing, the excavators come out with the intention of holding a deceased man accountable for whatever they dig up. I don't know how their brains work, if they have one. It's very odd, but they start excavating Yu Manglong's past. Yu Manglong has always been a very private celebrity. He doesn't seem to like posting online about what he's wearing, who he's dating, where he's traveling, or just lots of personal details. He will do enough for a celebrity to give his viewers and fans what they want to see, but he seems very, very private. All we even really know about his family is that he seems to be the only child. And what he mentioned in an interview once is that he says that his parents are basically the epitome of love. His mom would lovingly joke with his dad that he's gaining weight and he's getting that middle-aged belly. But she's joking, and he wants to be attractive for his wife, so he starts going to the gym, even takes it so far he becomes a fitness coach. That's really it. We know that he graduated from the Beijing Performing Arts Academy, but it takes a lot of money to get your name and face out there, or even just to have the right connections to be in the right rooms where the deals are actually signed. He doesn't have that. So he starts auditioning for all of these different reality shows, and his breakout show is actually Superboy. He ends up placing top 10. This is an idol-making show, primarily focused on singing and dancing, and although Yu Manglong later goes on to be an actor, he's pretty good at singing. When he sings, the judge on the show say, it's very interesting. He has such a soft voice. But it's soulful. It's like this weird, addicting juxtaposition of sounding so soft and young, but also sounding like you've seen a lot of stuff. You've experienced life. Like, that is a hard combination. And then his attitude, it's just humble yet determined. He tells producers that this was his second show that he was on, and the first one he didn't do well, but quote, I believe that if I keep trying, one day I will find a stage that's truly mine. Ironically, one of the very last songs that he sings on that show before officially starting his career in the industry, he sings a well-known song called The Sky is Dark. Notable lyrics include, the sky is dark, it's about to rain. This was the kind of world I was looking for. However, running headfirst, I was misunderstood. I was cheated. Is this the unseen world of adults? At crossroads, which I am forced to face every day, I miss the innocence and lovely through relatively small happiness of the past. The sky is wide, yet unable to be seen clearly. Suddenly, I look forward to the sky falling with quiet rain. Everything will calm down eventually. Now, I really feel like I'm going home.
我的小时候，吵闹任性的时候，我的外婆也会唱歌后，我以为这就是我所追求的世界，然而横冲直撞，被误解被骗，是否成人的世界背后总有残缺。
That doesn't say it almost feels like this was his final song before going into the entertainment industry, which is known to be really dark. After concluding the show Superboy, he goes on to sign with a state-run talent agency. It's basically a government-run talent agency. I believe this is the only one in China that's government-run and not a private company. But from there, he transitions into acting. He gets roles in Go Princess Go in 2015, Eternal Love 2017, and The Legend of the White Snake 2019. Okay, so a lot of the roles that he gets, they're like the olden day dramas. He does not have iPhone face, is what people would say. Like, he has this aura about him where he just feels like you would see him on the street and you're like, I think that he has some wisdom to put onto me, because he seems like he knows a lot. That's the vibe. He has that older energy. I don't know if I'm even describing it correctly. He feels calm, serene, like he gives wise, sage advice. That's the energy he has. The Legend of the White Snake, he actually ends up getting really positive critical acclaim. Critics are saying the whole piece is a fantasy. It's based off of a legend of the white snake. I mean, it's out of this world, it's whimsical, it's fantastical, it's a fantasy, which you have to bring that out. But also, if it's too whimsical, too fantastical, it feels like a child's play. It feels like a kid's show. But Yu Manglong was able to bring out the whimsy, but also it felt very human. His role felt very human. It doesn't feel too exaggerated. It felt very grounded. By this point, he has over 26 million followers on Weibo. You just know when someone's gonna make it bigger. They're already big, but they're only gonna get bigger. That's the feeling. They have this it factor. They're maybe not the top A-list celebrity yet, but the trajectory seems like it's going there. That's what Yu Manglong's trajectory feels like. He has a very strong star power. Everybody is anticipating that he's eventually gonna get up there soon. He's talented, he's conventionally attractive, but more than that, his fans, I mean, sure, he might not have as many as some of the other A-list actors, but he is so beloved. One fan posted a video. She wasn't even a fan when she met Yu Manglong. She didn't even know who he was. And she says, I was going on a trip and I just had this like really beat up, rundown suitcase. It fit my clothes, it was fine. She puts it in the overhead bin in the airplane and then she takes it off and the wheels pop off. So she's scrambling, stressing, freaking out, shoves the wheels back in. It kind of works. She starts wheeling it around the airport and she's struggling. I mean, this whole day, she was just a sweaty mess. She says this herself. It was bad. Like she was just getting lost. It was a whole thing. Mid-airport walk, wheels pop right back off. They start rolling away and she's stressing, scrambling to pick them up. And when she looks up, someone is already holding the wheels in their hand, offering them back to her. This very tall, clean-looking man. She didn't even know he was a celebrity. She didn't even know who he was at the time. He just was really nice. He helped her and then walked away. She said she found out afterwards that he was a celebrity, but his energy was interesting because he did not give celebrity vibes. He just seemed like a very handsome, attractive man, but very approachable. Like he's just from your neighborhood, very kind energy. She says it sounds very weird even coming out of her own mouth because she would never really describe men with this word. But like the only word she can think of to describe Yu Manglong is very pure. Like his aura is very pure. Maybe it's because of that. Yu Manglong allegedly catches the eyes of a very wealthy woman in the industry. And we're gonna go into her history probably in the next episode because her husband also dies very interestingly. It's a whole thing. This is alleged, but a lot of people think it's basically confirmed based on his career timeline and their interactions together. This wealthy woman is worth billions of dollars, and she decides that she must have her nasty little grubby greedy fingers in pretty much every aspect of the entertainment industry. It's alleged that she starts showing interest in Yu Manglong, threatening interest, and when he allegedly declines, she has blackballed him from the industry for the next 3 years. If you look at the timeline of his career, like I said, in 2019, after Legend of the White Snake, people were like, he's on his trajectory to get up there. He disappears. From 2020 to 2023, 3 years, he makes almost no public appearances. Instead, he moves to the countryside, out of nowhere. Some say running away from her, or to the countryside where he's been sent, and he just teaches kids for 3 years.
高老师，叫什么名字？是长头发还是短头发呀？他还舔你呢，说明他喜欢你。
When he does come back in 2023, he looks very skinny. He looks frail, like he lost a lot of weight. His cheeks are kind of sunken in, but in a way that doesn't look like it's just natural aging progression. He looks like he's been through something in the past 3 years. He looks sick. During an interview, the host is asking about him, asking him why he had gotten so thin. And Yu Manglong has this trademark half smile. It's like a very soft... It's the type of smile where you are wondering what the smile means. It's almost mysterious, but in like a good way. And he says, because I'm hungry. I don't have money to eat. Everyone's laughing. The host is laughing. And then they just move on to the next question. Fans are even laughing and teasing him. They're like, that is so cheeky. Like, the interviewer is commenting on your looks at the end of the day, even if it is out of concern. And he's standing up for himself in such a cheeky way. Like, he made a joke. He played it off. He didn't go into his insecurities about his looks. That's good. That's good. Because he's a well-known celebrity. With 25 million followers, there's no way he doesn't have money to eat. Right? In another interview after the 3-year hiatus, he just says that for 3 years, all he did was question whether or not he has what it takes, whether he belongs in this industry or not, that he had profound doubts and just nonstop questioning. So when he does come back in 3 years, he's gone for so long, there's just no feasible way that he's going to jump right back in and be handed leading roles. So whatever had happened in those 3 years, it's a huge impact on his career, clearly his mental well-being. Nevertheless, his core base of fans, they were just excited that he's back. He seems excited to get back to work, and they're excited about that. His fans never left him, by the way, even during his very long hiatus. One of the big things was a lot of the charities from the local area that he was staying in, or charities for natural disasters in China around that time, they post about celebrities who have donated, or high-profile people, or just other big donors to encourage other people to donate. Like it's part of, hey, maybe your favorite celebrity donated, so you should too. And they would post about Yu Manglong. And while he's being blackmailed from the industry, he has donated over $30,000 to a charity for children with leukemia, over $80,000 to help with the massive floods in the Henan province. He donated an entire library of over 2,400 high-quality textbooks to an elementary school from his hometown. All the while, he's making little to no money, like nothing. In another resurfaced clip, it's Yu Manglong and another celebrity on a reality show. They made this bet. If Yu Manglong loses, he has to buy dinner. Yu Manglong tells him, I must treat you to a meal, Wei Wei, but I don't have money. Again, everyone laughs. They think he's being playful. They think he's being quirky and cheeky and he's joking around. But maybe he wasn't. Because after Yu Manglong's passing, the excavators try to dig to find up any little dirty thing on him that they can, I don't know, get off on some scandalous narrative of who knows what. But his entire career, he hasn't really had any scandals. I think his fans genuinely appreciate how sincere he seems. He doesn't seem like the type to flaunt or cause drama or publicly date. He just seems very soft-spoken. It's hard to find any clips or interviews of him where he's loud or rambunctious. He just seems so calm and soft. His demeanor is very soft. And the excavators, they want evidence that maybe he's not like that when the cameras are off. That maybe he's a bad person. But all they end up finding is his personal Taobao account. Taobao is like the Amazon of China. You can buy pretty much anything on there, clothing included. And you can see all the items that Menglong's personal account was buying and some of the reviews that he left for vendors. So one of them was for a puffer jacket that you wear during winter. The review Yu Manglong leaves for the small clothing company is, the color is beautiful and warm, and it's suitable for wearing. It's not bad. This version is actually very good. This is the second time I bought clothes from this specific mom and pop vendor, and I gave it a thumbs up. The customer service agent is also very, very nice. He includes a video of him, and you can't see his face. He just is him showing the sleeves of the puffer jacket, and in the background, you see part of where he's living. You see a cardboard box with clothes in there, and it looks like he's using the cardboard box, like a reusable Amazon Prime box, as his closet. So it looks like he's storing clothes in there. And people were automatically already thrown off by that because, wait, he's this massive celebrity. Why does he not have like a big fancy closet? Why is he using a cardboard box for his clothes? And also, this jacket in question that he leaves a review for, it's technically a $30 puffer winter jacket, which for Beijing winters, where the temperatures on average range from around 17 degrees to about 43 degrees, it's a colder city than New York City, by the way. Netizens are really confused that he's wearing a $30 puffer jacket when he's a celebrity. Even regular, normal citizens will typically wear more expensive puffer jackets because you invest in a really good one that lasts you multiple winters. It's just that cold in Beijing. The price of getting sick and missing work is probably higher than $30. Netizens say a $30 puffer jacket can't even be called a puffer jacket. It's not a down jacket. There's no down feather or vegan feathers. It's just, it looks like it. It's not really a puffer jacket, which is weird. Because Yu Manglong has a puffer jacket brand sponsorship. He works with this huge company that sells $2,000 puffer jackets. So why is he wearing a $30 puffer jacket? I'm sure they've sent him one for free before. He's been seen wearing it for public appearances when he's endorsing the brand. Interestingly, netizens are able to compile footage of him wearing puffer jackets. The puffer jacket is a big point of contention. When Yu Manglong is at a big event or has an appearance, he will wear the puffer jacket that has the logo of the brand that he's partnered with. But when he is out running errands by himself, going to the airport, traveling, he is always seen wearing a cheap $30 puffer jacket. And sometimes when he's out running errands or going to the airport, he's with his manager, he's with an assistant, it seems like the team. They're all wearing expensive puffer jackets, but he's wearing his $30 puffer jacket. It's kind of strange. It's a bit unheard of. What manager is wearing nicer clothes than the celebrity that they're managing? So people online start speculating, did the manager and assistant bully him to take his puffer jacket from the brand that he's endorsing? Like, if they're bullying him for that, what else are they bullying him taking from him? How much of his money is he actually getting paid? Because there's no way, just because he takes a 3-year hiatus, that he should be starving. People have dug up videos of Yu Manglong when he was alive. A few videos have been going viral and circulating on foreign social media platforms. One big one that has been going around is of Yu Manglong at an airport wearing a black hoodie. He and his manager are in line checking bags. A female fan walks up to Yu Manglong.
The manager also is a huge character in this.
Yes.
His name is Du Qiang. Yeah.
Very big character. The female fan is filming. She's telling him that she knows that his birthday passed, but she bought this necklace for him and like, hopefully it's not too late. And he's smiling and saying thank you. And his smile seems, it seems small, it seems strained, but it seems genuine. Some people could take it as maybe his fan was making him uncomfortable, or maybe he doesn't like being filmed in public. But when you look closely, that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like he doesn't like the angle that he's being filmed at, is what netizens believe. But when you look closely, his eye, there's clearly a bruise on that eye that appears to be covered up by makeup, and she's filming right at that angle. I will say that a lot of different cases, there's contention of like, is that a bruise? Is it being covered up by makeup? Does it actually look like a bruise? This one does it looks like a bruise. He doesn't look agitated, but rather more sick or distraught or anxious that she is getting this side of his face. He looks scared. And I don't know, perhaps he has intense social anxiety and being outside is a lot for him. Or maybe he doesn't want to be filmed by a fan. Sure, we could argue all of that. We could say all of that, but the level of discomfort in this video seems to be a lot more. There are other videos of him walking through the airport, specifically in that $30 puffer jacket. One of his fans is filming him and he's alone. He looks fine. He doesn't look afraid. He doesn't look uncomfortable. She almost trips. He instantly runs over to help make sure that she catches her balance. That's a different clip. But this one, he doesn't have that energy. He looks wildly uncomfortable. He looks anxious. He's smiling. He looks like he's trying to be alert. And then there's this moment that netizens have picked apart. Yu Manglong's manager walks past him and raises his hand to grab something, or perhaps grab Yu Manglong's arm. But Yu Manglong flinches and he ducks his head as if he's about to get slapped or punched by this manager. Some people argue, no, it looks like Yu Manglong was slipping. Other people are saying, no, you don't react like that when you're slipping. Like, it is a visceral reaction of like ducking your head. You don't really duck your head when you're slipping. It looks like he's ducking his head from his manager. And after that, the manager and Yu Manglong walk away while the fan is still filming and following after them. And he's just rapidly speed walking. He looks even more uncomfortable. Previously, he just looked a little bit anxious, but he was still being attentive to his fan. But now he's speed walking, giving no facial emotions. He just wants to get out of there. There are more pictures surfacing from August 13th, August 16th. These are pictures that fans took of him while he was traveling for work, and it appears that he has bruises near his eyes that have been covered up by makeup. Those are just taken a month before his passing. There's another video of him sitting in a crowd of people. Clearly, this is a work event. There's cameras flashing around him. He's wearing what appears to be the giant puffer jacket, the one that actually looks warm, that he endorses, that he doesn't even get to wear outside of work events, the very thick one. And he's sitting there wearing this jacket, and it looks like he's sitting in front of a stage, but he looks genuinely happy to be there. He spots a fan recording him from the side, and he's like waving, and he's looking around and waving at people who are waving at him. And there's this moment where he glances behind him, and it looks like he sees someone. Maybe someone motions to him. Maybe he sees a specific person he doesn't want to see, but instantly everything in his face changes. He's still in public, so he's not going to make it obvious, but it's noticeable. He quickly turns back to face the front. He looks down at his hands, and then he covers his lap a little more with his jacket, and then he looks further down at his hands, and then he looks up But he's no longer smiling, he's no longer waving, he's no longer looking around, he doesn't look like he's mentally there at the event anymore. And it's pretty instant. He's smiling, waving, looking around, seems very comfortable, and then suddenly he's just face forward. No smiling, no interacting, nothing. People are wondering what the hell or who the hell could have been there to elicit such a strong reaction from him. A girl who is going by the alias of Kay. She knows Yu Manglong personally and submitted this tip to the reporter. And I'm sure the reporter had to verify that Kay actually does indeed know Yu Manglong to take this tip seriously. But Kay describes Yu Manglong as having a very fairy spirit. That's the best way to put it. The way he lives, his energy, he lives in harmony with the world. That's how she describes him in person. She says she knows that people harmed him and that she prays that they will all go to hell, the deepest, darkest pits of hell, and rot there forever. She says that she knows that he was offered a position to sleep with a higher up in the industry and he rejected. She says the way it works is you have these meals with industry higher ups. These are the people, they're called the money. These are the people funding projects. These are the people that sign the deals. These are the people that are friends with the executives at all of these big companies that do the long-term brand endorsements for the celebrities. You don't know the money, then you're not getting money. You're not getting deals. You're not getting roles. So you go to these meals. And it's common for entertainers to be pressured into sleeping or hanging out with these rich people who fund their projects. She says, and it seems like perhaps even Yu Manglong disclosed this to her, I don't know, or maybe she has other friends in the industry, but she says, if you want to leave a meal with these higher-ups, you want to go home by yourself, then you want to make sure you drink from the public bottle of alcohol. Kay says, the interesting thing is, the manager that Yu Manglong has, she's met him before. He's not even a talent manager. His background is working for organized crime syndicates. He's not a talent manager. He looks like the rumor is that he's a hitman for these organized crimes. I wouldn't say hitman, but he's like the body guy. He takes care of the bodies. He doesn't even have much experience in the entertainment industry. He's just the muscles for these executives to control entertainers. His manager was basically glued to Yu Manglong the entire time. That's what she says. When she met Yu Manglong's manager, she thought this was his bodyguard. She initially thought it was so thoughtful of the agency to hire bodyguards for all their talent, but turns out he's the manager. He's always around, keeping an eye on Yu Manglong. It's just weird. Kay says the thing with the agency that he's signed to is they don't really care if Yu Manglong is successful or not. They don't care about the money because they don't need the money. They already have it all. The entire agency is a front for sex and crimes. There are 4 big ways that talent agencies in China have been exposed. So one of the biggest ways is blow up the palace contracts. Let's say a film production company decides in their movie they need to have a scene where they have a replica palace or castle. It's one of those big historical landmarks and they need to, boom, blow it up. Because when are pyrotechnics not the whole point of movie making? They find a company that can make a castle and then boom, blow it up. But that company is very conveniently owned by the main director, producer's wife or brother or uncle. And they're saying, we need $1 million to blow up a castle. So they get a contract for $1 million, but really all they need is like $50,000 to make it happen. So they're just pocketing the rest and everyone knows they're doing it. They're just laundering and pocketing the money from the big money backers in the industry. Then you have yin and yang contracts. These are 2 contracts for celebrities that work in the movie industry. 1 public contract, 1 private contract. Let's say I want famous Mr. Movie Man in my movie. I give him a Yang contract that goes public. Mr. Movie Man is making $1 million for the movie. The deal has been inked. The ink is dry. The $1 million Mr. Movie Man is going to pay taxes on because that's his revenue from this movie. That's his earnings. But that's not really what he's getting paid because there's a Ying contract that's hidden where it says, I'm going to pay Mr. Movie Man $100 million under the table that he does not need to pay taxes on because it's hidden from the public. Nobody will know. There was a huge crackdown on this, and that is what the massive, huge actress Fan Bingbing went down for, although she's back and making a comeback. And also, it seems like a lot of people in the industry did this. She just happened to get caught. And then there are ghost theaters. This started a long time ago. Movie productions would have midnight movie launches. They would say, hey everyone, at 12 a.m., our movie is going to premiere at all of your local theaters. Go and buy a ticket. You go to the movie theater, and this movie is playing every 15 minutes. All the rooms in the theater are booked for this movie. So you're like, I stayed up so I could watch this movie. Can I purchase a ticket? Every single theater room has been privately bought for private events. One person is booking out entire movie theater A so that they can bring all their friends and family to watch this movie. It's so strange. And immediately the next day, after just 12 hours of being out, this movie has smashed box records. Like all the box office records have been destroyed, plummeted by this movie. And now everyone online is like, oh my gosh, I have to go see this movie because everyone's obsessed with it. Or you go online and you finally decide, I'm going to pay for a ticket. You get you open the screen, all the seats are in red, except for at the very back, there's like 3 seats open. Worst seats in the house. You purchase it, you go to the theater, the entire theater is empty. What happened to all those purchased seats? That doesn't make any sense. Then you go online and everyone's talking about, I went to this movie has smashed all the records, everyone's going to this movie, oh my goodness, this is the next It movie. What are they talking about? It's a ghost theater. They will purchase and buy out all of these theaters, and they get they're working with the theater. So the movie production company will tell the theaters, hey, I want you to play this movie every 15 minutes. We're going to do a midnight release, and I'm just going to purchase all the tickets so that we can build up hype for this movie. Everyone's going to want to see it because everyone's seeing it, right? So then you're going to give me a little bit of that money back because you're not really dealing with thousands of people. It's going to be empty the whole night. You give me a little money back, you get business, and then more people are going to come see. It's a win-win. And the movie production, they're also going to get more investors because, wow, these people, they know how to sell out movies. That's the third way. And then the fourth way is just straight up money laundering contracts. Talent agencies will allegedly create shell companies in famous actors and actresses' names using their signatures to open up these shell companies to launder money through. Sometimes the talent don't even know that that's happening. That seems to be a thing. The front is, the talent agency has connections to wealthy investors in the entertainment industry. These wealthy investors also have tons of other business dealings and tons of other money launderings that they want to funnel through this talent agency. So just come up with a bunch of shell names for the talent. If they get caught, whatever, throw them under the bus, who cares? Netizens were able to allegedly source and find multiple shell companies made in Yu Manglong's names that specialize specifically in military contracts. This is a whole thing recently where a lot of Chinese government officials and party leaders have, like any other country, have been accused of embezzling funds from massive military contracts so that they can profit tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Yu Manglong is signed to a government-run talent agency, and this 37-year-old man who wears a $30 puffer jacket, who graduated from Beijing Arts Academy, who donates money to patients with leukemia, he has a company that does military deals, operating in the sales of weaponry, firearms, gunpowder, fireworks. It's said that there is massive amounts, tens of millions of dollars going into and out of the shell company, none of which leads back to Yu Manglong. None of which. It is believed that Yu Manglong found out about this and did not want to be a part of this. So he gathered the evidence of what is happening, what the agency is doing in his name that he is not part of, and he wanted out. That is one of the theories. Either out of his contract with his agency, which, by the way, if he wanted out of his contract with his agency, he would have to pay about $30 million to get out. Perhaps he just wanted to walk out of the business. It is alleged that he gathered all this information on a USB and used it as leverage to the higher-ups to get me out of here. There's a lot with this USB rabbit hole that we're going to get down. Lots of people confirming the theory, debunking the theory.
All of this information allegedly was stored in the red USB.
Yes, that he brought to this dinner party and that he swallowed. There's reasons why people think that he swallowed this USB, and we're going to get into that in the next part. There is belief that he was killed for this USB before he was allegedly thrown off the 5th floor window to stage his death. But people think that this is a very real thing that happened. Others believe that Yu Manglong knew about the existence for these shell companies for a little while, and they were actually being used against him for leverage. Hey, if you don't sleep with this rich, wealthy executive or investor, we're going to expose you for money laundering, which he is taking no part in, and he has no control over. But it has been reported that before all of this was censored, netizens found at least 4 dozen different shell companies operating in Yu Manglong's name, with money going in and out primarily from weapon sales. None of the money was going to Yu Manglong. And we're going to go into the whole rabbit hole of who is involved with the USB theory, who is involved in the money laundering theory. We're going to cover that in the next part, along with all the other developing theories, such as the very big, currently developing story where hackers have gotten together to try and hack into the phones of the major people who were likely involved and were there at the dinner party that night, which I thought sounded like a plot straight out of a movie, until you see that they're genuinely releasing private information about all the parties that were present. Their full names, government IDs, government social security numbers, full private home addresses to private properties that people did not know that they lived in. It would not be publicly available information for these types of people this high up, for this socioeconomic class. So it doesn't just seem like a greater than fiction, hackers are gonna put justice to this. It seems like they're getting something. I don't know if it's legitimate, but to some degree, it seems like something is happening there. There's also further conversations that the same hackers found videos on the partygoers' phones that show Yu Manglong being tortured, as well as his dog being killed in front of him for the sake of compliance. It was believed that it was likely recorded to make sure that he stays quiet about everything, that they can use this likely essay torture video to blackmail him into giving them what they want.
And the latest also development is they found there's 3 locations that he has been
detained. So they use the word detained, but it's basically, if this is true, he was held captive and kidnapped.
For a long time, for weeks.
And they like, if we're going to go through the timeline, because the last time that he made a public appearance, his last live, a lot of people think that he was sending out help signals. A lot of people think that he was doing the 540, that's what they call it in China, but like we know this as like the domestic violence signal in America, or like the help signal. There's like a different variation that people believe that he was doing, and there's a lot to go through in the timeline, and people have allegedly formed these purchasing groups where they all pitch in money and view the videos to try and see if these videos are real, and if it does look like Yu Manglong, or if it's AI, or if these videos even exist. All the reports of those people coming out right now, and again, we don't know if any of this is true. We don't know if these are unhinged people on the internet making up lies. We don't know. One thing I will say about this case is, I know in America it could be easier to make up rumors for the sake of making up rumors, and conspiracies, it's like they have legs of their own and they run 20 miles way too far off the deep end. But with this case, there have been 3 arrests made, which again, we'll dive deeper into later. These 3 arrests are not for anyone that might be involved in Yu Manglong's death. These 3 arrests are against people who have allegedly spread rumors about Yu Manglong's death. So in China, if these are Chinese netizens saying that they saw this video, they are likely not putting out lies on the internet for the sake of putting out lies. People's accounts are easily traceable these days, especially in China, where you need to have specific, like your ID number to sign up for a lot of different platforms. It would just be very counterproductive for people to make up lies for the sake of getting attention online. What attention? Their account is likely going to get suspended within a day. They're not going to get attention. If anything, they're going to get arrested. So I will say there is that element, but we don't know if these people could be foreigners. We don't know. The only thing that we know for sure is that whatever happened to Yu Manglong that night, there are people that know what happened, and they were there when he died. The dinner party goers. One of which went on to tweet around the time of that dinner party that Yu Manglong attends. Just one word. Yummy. That's it. No context, nothing else. People believe that he's talking about essaying Yu Manglong. Another one goes on, this is a famous actress that I've actually talked about before. She goes on to post live photos of dinner and all of these other things. I mean, she's a famous actress. I don't know if she knew that these were live photos. I don't think so, that she's posting. And one of them, you can hear what sounds like someone saying like, he's still fighting, he's still resisting. Someone is literally saying he's still resisting.
Yeah.
And then another one where someone says it sounds like you can hear a slap at the end. Other dinner party guests are publicly fighting online about whether or not they were there at the party, trying to expose each other, but they're ending up exposing everyone. And some dinner party guests have been seemingly directly tied to probably one of the most powerful people in all of China. So we know that these people at the party, they know what happened to Yu Manglong. We know that they don't want to talk. We know that they're powerful. And we don't know anything else. We don't know if it's true that he was forced to watch his pet dogs get killed. We don't know if it's true that his mother has been detained by the government to make sure that she doesn't start asking for justice for her son. We don't know if there are other celebrities from the same agency that died mysteriously that are connected to the same powerful people. We don't know if these things are true, but we are going to explore all of those theories and all those connections in the next part, in part 2 of the Yu Manglong case. So with that, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.